Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to talk about the new Natasha Denona palette that she recently came out with. It's called the Tropic Palette. So when you first get your packaging, it will come in a little box like this. So the packaging is very metallic looking. It looks beautiful. It reminds me of summertime, the color does. And then the actual palette itself does come in a packaging like this. It's plastic, so it's going to be a little bit sturdy for you guys. It's not going to be something that I personally will be traveling with though, because it's Natasha Denona, so it's expensive. It does on the back here, if you notice, it's got these little divots in it. So the divots are for a reason. So what you can do with this palette is you can depot the shadows. So if you take a little tool, you can push through the back here and you can push the shadows out. So you can put these into a different palette if you prefer to. I personally won't be doing that, so that's not something I need to worry about. But I know a lot of people were complaining because when you touch the palette, like when you touch certain shades and things, not everyone, but some of them, can you hear it? Like you can hear it moving around in there. And the reason why that is because it's a magnetic palette. So you can push all these shadows out. So it's not that the actual shadows are loose in the pans or anything like that. It's because it's a magnetic palette that you can take and remove these out of the pan. Just like Kat Von D's shadows that she's recently, or her Shade and Light palette. A lot of these new companies, or not new companies, a lot of these companies now are making palettes that you can remove the shadows. So if you want to put them into like a Z palette or something like that, that's the way that you can move them out very quickly, very easily. This does have 15 different shadows in here. My personal opinion on this, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat. Do I feel like you need to purchase it? No. I feel like it's a good palette. So let me go ahead and tell you guys my reasoning why I don't think it's something that you need to purchase. I feel like it's a really good palette. I love all the different colors in here. The colors look like they're going to pack a really nice punch. So when you're looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. These colors are going to be so magnificent. But a lot of these colors are they don't have a powerful punch to them. When you put them on your eyelids, they don't have a powerful color punch. So if you're looking for something that's going to look like it does in the pan on your eyes, it's not. But do I still like it? I still love it, honestly. I feel like I would use this consistently because I don't like something always that's going to pack a heck of a punch. I like something sometimes that you can kind of build up or that's a little bit more of a light wash. I love this palette, honestly. But I can't recommend it to you guys because if you were looking at this palette thinking, oh my gosh, these colors are going to be so beautiful, so bold and popping on my eyelids, they're not. So that's the reason why I say I don't recommend it, because I feel like a lot of people are disappointed because of that. That's the reason why most people are disappointed about this palette. When I was looking through the reviews on Sephora, everybody's disappointed in the pigmentation. And I feel like that is a valid reason to be disappointed in a palette, in my opinion. Because I feel like if you're looking at a palette like this and you're like, oh my gosh, these are so bold and poppy. And then when you start putting them on your eyelids, you're like, where the heck did the color go? So that can totally happen, especially if you're using your fingers. This palette is not finger friendly for some reason. I've noticed when I try to use my fingers using this palette, you're going to get less pigmentation, which is not typical for any kind of palette, honestly. I feel like most palettes I've ever tried, if you put your finger into it and you're going to put it onto your eyelid, you're going to get excellent pigmentation. This one is the opposite, which I've never seen a palette react like that, but you get better pigmentation when you're using a brush. So I will be doing some finger swatches for you guys of this palette just to show you how it does swatch for you. But then I'll also insert some brush swatches, and the brush swatches I'll like show you guys, or what I'm going to do with the brush swatches, I'm going to swirl it in and then I'm going to go back and forth twice to show you guys the pigmentation that you're going to get from this palette. So the swatches won't be live for the brushes, but the finger swatches will be live, so that I can tell you guys. But don't be disappointed by the finger swatches. I'm telling you guys, if you're using this palette, it's going to go on the eyelids so much better with a brush. Now, my favorite shade in this palette, honestly, I really loved Mint Frost. That's beautiful. A lot of people are complaining about Tiger Lily because Tiger Lily is a little bit, they're thinking, lacking pigmentation. But again, like I said, this palette is not going to give you that bold, punchy pop of color. I really love this shade right here, which is Limoncello. I am wearing that shade on my eyes today. I will be inserting some pictures of the looks that I've created. I've used every single color in this palette. I love it. Honestly, I really do. I love this for the cheeks as well. I like to go in with any of these shades right here. These 3 shades. Actually 4. I even like that one. I like these for blushes. They look beautiful on the cheeks as blushes. So you can use this as a blush palette as well as an eyeshadow palette. The formulation to this palette is different than her typical palettes that she's come out with. they're pressed differently, and I don't know how she's done it, but they are pressed differently, which is also disrupting the grams amount of product that you're getting in the palette. So what she had to do, I guess there's a legal law or whatever that you have to, whatever the smallest amount in the palette, you have to say that that's what the whole palette weighs. So like, say for example, I don't know what shades weigh what, but say for example, Mint Frost weighs a certain amount. Well, then she has to say that all of them weigh that certain amount, just because it's the least amount. So that's why she's had to do this for this palette. I know that a lot of people are complaining because they're like, you're getting less product and she's charging us the same amount. That's not fair. You're still getting the same amount of product. The pans are the same exact size. They're pressed a little bit differently. I think that's part of the issue. And then also she has changed her formulation on some of these. So that's why the formulation is going to look different on swatches and on the eye. So I don't know that that's going to make a lot of people happy, honestly, because I feel like I see a lot of negative reviews about this already. I personally like it. Honestly, do I feel like it's worth $129? No. No. I don't know what I was thinking when I picked it up. I'm like, I already bought 2 Natasha Denona palettes, and I was like, I like those. I really do like those. But I'm like, why would I spend that much money on another palette? Because I'm crazy. Because I'm crazy, okay? Like, if it makes you happy, right? It can't be that bad, right? But anyway, in my opinion, I think it's a really good palette. It does clasp closed by like magnetic closure, so it doesn't have like something that's going to lock it in tight. Me personally, that's another reason why I personally wouldn't travel with it, just because I feel like it might happen to come open. It does have a giant mirror in here as well, so the mirror is very good size. So if you want to use this to get ready with, you can totally use this to get ready with, because it's going to be big enough that you can see your whole face in it. So for me, like I said, I feel like this palette is worth it if you like these type of shades that are not going to be bold and poppy. If you don't like shades that are a little bit more muted out, or that you have to kind of build up, then you're not going to enjoy it. I have had no problem whatsoever blending these on my eyelids. They go on and they blend out like super easy. I have had no issues whatsoever in that aspect. So for me, I think it's worth it to keep it, but I can't recommend for you to purchase it, because I think that that's going to be an issue that you guys are going to be concerned about, is the pigmentation. If you're not worried about pigmentation, then I'd say go swatch it, but the swatches are not going to be good, I'm telling you. Just, I'm not sure, honestly. I can't recommend this palette, honestly. I really can't, just because I feel like there's going to be so many disappointed people in this palette because of the pigmentation, and then because of they're thinking they're getting less amount of product for the amount of money that you're paying for it. So I think there's a lot of people that are disappointed in those two factors. So this, like I said, is $129. It is a limited edition palette. You're getting 15 shadows times 0.05 grams. I think that was right. Pretty sure that's right. So the new formulation, like I said, is on certain shades in the palette. I don't know exactly which ones are the new formulation, in my opinion. I can't tell. So I know that there's some differences, but I don't know which ones they are. I know a lot of people are complaining that the mattes are chalky. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I do not feel like the mattes are chalky at all. I feel like the mattes blend effortlessly. They're not chalky. There's not a whole lot of kick up. I love the mattes. I think the mattes are beautiful. So like I said, that was the biggest complaint, that it was chalky, the pigmentation, and then some people were complaining that they felt like they weren't lasting on the eyes, and I don't agree with that whatsoever either, because for me, when I put this on, it lasts all day long. I can wear this to work in the morning and then come home at night and do a workout, and then after the workout, I still have it on my eyes. It does not budge. I do not agree with that whatsoever. When people saying that it doesn't have good longevity, I think you're definitely still going to need to use a primer. So I think maybe that might be the issue. They're like, that maybe they're not using a good primer or something like that. I have used the Urban Decay, what is it called? Painterly Paint Pot. I've used my Tom Ford, which that was expensive. I used my Tom Ford primer, and I've used the Urban Decay Eden. I think it's Eden, the one that has like the little bit of where it's going to help with color pigmentation. I think it's Eden. So I've used all of those, and I've had no problems whatsoever. So I don't think that that's a problem for me, in my opinion. I don't feel like that it does wear off very easily like people are saying. The one complaint that I can say about it is I feel like there isn't like a brow bone highlight in here. So for me, I would have loved to seen like a brow bone highlight. There's nothing in here to highlight your brow bone with, so I typically go with something else to highlight my brow bone. I'll either use my Wet n Wild, this little single right here. This is the Creme Brulee, so I'm using a, what is this, like 99 cents and $129 palette, so that's kind of bad. Or I'll just use like a highlighter. I'll use whatever highlighter I'm using at the moment, and I'll highlight my brow bone depending upon if I want like a more of a shimmery brow bone highlight or if I want a matte highlight. So I personally wish they would have put a matte or a highlight in here. I don't care if it was matte or if it was shimmery. I just wish there was a highlight in here for your brow bone. Other than that, I think it's really good. So let's get into some swatches for you guys. I'm going to swatch them 3 at a time. I'm going to go down the rows. So we're going to start right here with Peach Puff, Nudist, and what is this? Mint Frost. I can't read. So there are the 3 right here that I'm going to be swatching. So we're going to go in with our fingers. And can you hear the noise? That's what people are complaining about, that they don't like that noise. All right, so here's what the swatches look like on my fingers. As you can tell, they are pigmented when you put them on like this. So here is Mint Frost. Here is Nudist. And here is Peach Puff. So for me, I still think they swatch really pretty, but they're just not as poppy and as bold as what I thought they would be, considering this is a very expensive palette. I feel like if you like the way that this looks, you're going to love it even better on the eyes, in my opinion. I feel like it just looks so much better on the eyes with the brush. So I think you might like it better. Oh, you guys like my little makeup towel? I ordered these off of Amazon. They actually say makeup and they're black, so I don't have to worry about getting my white cloths dirty anymore. So shout out to Amazon. They were like $25 for 6 towels though. It's expensive. Okay, now the next row here, we're going to Sangria. This is Vintage Taupe. Vintage Taupe is my favorite blush shade. Oh, looks so beautiful. And Exotic. I love Exotic. I use that for St. Patrick's Day. It looks so cute. So we're going to swatch these. Oops, I got the wrong fingers here going, guys. Good job, Tiffany. Let's try this again. So here is Sangria, Vintage Taupe, and Exotic. So I have them all swatched. But do you hear how they're loose in the, like they sound like they're loose, but they're not really loose? So here are the 3 swatches on my fingers. So again, this is Exotic. So you see how that's like not pigmented hardly at all. So that's where people were getting mad about. And then we have Sangria. No, I'm sorry, Vintage Taupe. And then Sangria. So there are those 3 shades swatched. I personally think they look really pretty. I know, like I said, the pigmentation isn't exactly what people were hoping for in the palette. And as you can tell, there's not a whole lot of fallout. So when people are saying these are chalky, I'm like, what? No, they're not. They are not chalky whatsoever, in my opinion. And they do have good pigmentation. They're going to last a while. It's taken me a while to scrub this even off my hand, and that's with no primer whatsoever on my hand. So they will last on your eyes. So I disagree with people saying that. So now we're on to Fake Tan, Pastel Melon, and then Lounge. Lounge is a beautiful shade. I love that shade. It looks like summertime. And here we go. We got these 3 swatched now. So here is wait, is it Lounge? Laguna, not Lounge, Laguna. And then Pastel Melon. Oh, we still have a swatch over here going on. See if we can get that off. I think we got it good enough. And then we'll just do it closer to this way. And then this one is Fake Tan. So there's Fake Tan. So there's what they all look like. Can you see the shade right here? Isn't that gorgeous? That is so pretty. That looks gorgeous on the lower lash line. If you put that on your lower lash line, you are going to love it. I need to find right here. We need something wet to help get this off my hand. So I'm just going to use this little spray. See if this will help remove it. Because like I'm saying, like they're hard to get off. That's why when people are saying that they don't last on the eyes, I'm like, what? I have no problem with longevity whatsoever. So like I said, I don't know how many times I can repeat that, but I just don't agree with that statement. So the next row we're going to is Tiger Lily, Gusty, and Cocoa. So here's Cocoa, Gusty, and Tiger Lily. This is the one that a lot of people are complaining about, Tiger Lily. So here is the 3 shades swatched. So these are also meant to go like in the row of 3 as an eye look. So here's Tiger Lily, here's Gusty, and here's Cocoa. So there are the 3 shades swatched. So you can create eye looks using these 3 shades, and that's how she's done this palette. She set it up so that they go in rows of 3 for eye looks, and that's how I did each eye look out of this palette, so that I knew that I was utilizing each color to show you guys the looks with them and everything. So throughout this video, you're probably seeing some footage of me putting makeup on, and as well as some pictures of me wearing the different shades. I didn't want to film videos on all 5 looks in here because you can get 5 different looks. Like if you went in the orders of 3 like she has it, you can get 5 different looks that way. But of course you can create and combine however you want to. You don't have to do it that way. That's just the way that I did it, just because it was easier to kind of review the palette so that I knew that I was utilizing every color. So again, these are having a hard time coming off. All right, so that one's off. Now we're on to the last row here, which is the color that I'm wearing today on my eyelids. Hopefully I didn't just make a blue mark on my face. So these are the 3 shades right here, and like I said, this is what I'm wearing on my eyelids today, and I feel like my eye look turned out really pretty. In my opinion, I think these colors work really well together. I love this limoncello shade. It's so pretty. It looks like it's going to be yellow when you first pull it onto the brush, but when you put it on your eyelids, it's almost like a duochrome. Do you see that? It's so pretty. I love the way that one turned out. So this is Sahara. So Sahara, limoncello, and Zena. So there are the 3 shades right here. So here's what they look like swatched on my fingers. So this pastel purple looks like it's not going to be much at all, and honestly at first I was a little bit concerned when I was using it because I felt like it wasn't giving me a whole lot of pigmentation, but then once I started blending it in, I was like, I like it. So again, these shades, I closed it up, I need to see what the shades are. So this is, I'm sorry, good grief girl, Zena. So here's Zena. So as again, you see how that's like not a whole lot of pigmentation there. The finger swatches I feel like are not that good in my opinion. Limoncello. So there is limoncello. Do you see how it almost has like, on the swatch with the finger, it's not as beautiful as it is with the brush. I'm telling you guys, with the brush, this one is gorgeous. And then we have Sahara. So here is Sahara. So there are all 3 shades swatched. So they are very, very pretty, but honestly, I feel like that's a very pastel looking look. And then when I put it on my eyes, I'm like, it's not that pastel. It looks really pretty. It looks very spring-like, don't get me wrong. It looks very spring-like in my opinion, but it's not as pastel as I thought it was going to look in the palette, because after I swatched it, I was like, ugh, this is going to be like a very Easter look, but it's not. Really, it's not. So in my overall thoughts and opinions on this palette, do I feel like it's worth it? For me, it is, because I really do enjoy it. I feel like it's a beautiful palette. It's something that I'm having fun working with, having fun playing with. I don't know that I can recommend that anybody purchase a $129 palette. I don't think any palette should be that expensive. That's crazy in my opinion. But I purchased it because I'm crazy. You guys know I'm a little crazy when it comes to makeup. So I will be enjoying it and loving it. If you guys do want any kind of tutorials using this palette, let me know. I did, like I said, throw in some different looks with this palette, and then also a little get ready with me, a quick get ready with me as we're doing this video. So you've probably already seen all that. But if you guys want any specific like sit down, get ready with me type of thing where I can talk through while I'm doing it, let me know, because I can totally do that. So as for me, I'm going to say, if you are okay with purchasing a palette that you know that the punch is not going to be as crazy as it looks here, if you're okay with spending $129 on a palette, if you, all these things like in here call to you, these colors call to you, then I'd recommend it. But if those 3 things don't happen for you, I would say stay away from it. Honestly, I would say steer clear. So that's my overall thoughts, my opinions on the new Natasha Denona Tropic Palette. I am enjoying it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to know if you have any thoughts or opinions on this palette. Let me know. I know it's expensive. I know it's a little bit crazy to spend that much money on an eyeshadow palette, but honestly, I really am enjoying it. So let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.